We have got to find people to run who get this, who know their place, know their standing, and know what government was placed there for. Nancy.
There's Tim Freeman. He says he knows quite a bit about this. Can we educate him further?
I hope so.
Bring him down.
He's got all the documentation to understand state living.
Yeah.
I
You gotta
guess.
get the
This
correct
is the
things
first thing.
taught in the schools again too, because without that, it's just gonna turn right around on you and it'll happen again.
Now, I do know that one of the reasons Tim left the state legislature is because of the deal-making process, and because every person that he asked if they've ever read the Constitution, they said no. Okay? So he's like, I'm going back. I'm going
He
back
also
home.
understands that he can't get anything done up there.
Right.
What he can get done is here locally.
Exactly. So does he have a better understanding than what we're currently dealing with? I believe that he does. Is it perfect? No, but we can't expect perfection right off the bat. We need to work toward
But
that.
he is willing to learn.
Bring him down.
Yep. Larry?
That's kind of my question. I mean, a food handler has to go to a class to learn how to handle food. Do these commissioners actually have any prerequisite as far as management?
Other than being a resident and a certain age, there is no other qualification, because we were never supposed to allow it to get to this point.
This overregulation, overburdensome thing. I mean, it's just insane.
Well, not just that, is that we've stopped educating ourselves on the founding principles, on constitutional principles, common law, rule of law, the difference, the balance of powers, all of the fundamental things. And so that's why it's so important over those next two, 2014, 2016, we find people to run who do. Approach business owners that that may be willing to do that service. Or even a retired veteran, or a vet who's on Social Security or disability, who no longer has a job, but would like to work and understands these principles and this reasoning. I don't understand why the vets aren't up in arms. I mean, I know every one of my great uncles would be locked, loaded, and ready to rock and roll by now and be like, what do you have meetings for? This is bullshit. Sorry, but that's exactly what they would do and say. Two of them worked at the Pentagon. They were all in a couple of them were in World War I. They were all in World War II, and a few in Korea and Vietnam. They never stood for this. Never.
It's like when they locked up this fire hall over here, and because the commissioners wanted that shut down. Shoot, my granddad, man, if there had been a fire, he'd have been down there knocking the locks off of the thing.
Yes.
And driving the truck out himself.
Same thing with
You
Clemson
know?
Falls when they shut the water off the first time. Where was their sheriff?
Yeah.
And not just that, where were the people? A wrong is a wrong. And it takes each one of us individually to stand up and say, no, this is wrong and I'm going to do something about it. And I have the authority because I am the people. I'm the one that gives each of you the authority. That's the mentality we've got to switch. We're the boss. We're the parent. We're the sovereign.
Yep.
We created that. It's time to either recreate it or destroy it. Frankly, I don't care at this point, personally. I'd like to see a recreation,
I think a lot of
but
people
that might not be
don't
possible.
understand what sovereign is. You know what that entails. You're a king or a queen. That's what that is.
And it requires responsibility. Any other questions? Do we have you fired up or did we knock you down?
Nobody.
Tomorrow's Constitution Day, and some of us will be at the courthouse at 12:30, ringing bells if anybody wants to join.
Nice.
Like a good turnout.
What is that?
Okay.
Constitution Day
Tomorrow's
is tomorrow.
Constitution Day at the courthouse
What
at
do you do
12:30.
there? Just show up with your body.
Bring a bell, and come down at 12:30. Courthouse.
We'll get into that another class. Is that okay? Good.
I got a camera.
Tomorrow, or this Wednesday at the commissioners meeting, 18th. That's this Wednesday.
That's right, it is this Wednesday.
Don't confuse me anymore, because I will lose a week.
What's the room number?
216.
216. County Courthouse, room number 216, 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. Oath keepers will be there to present on NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, habeas corpus, the direct taking of our Fourth Amendment, Seventh
Containment without trial.
containment without trial, et cetera, et cetera.
Is Oath Keepers, do you know who's gonna be there from them?
Tom
Kerrigan.
McCarrigan.
Okay, cause there was a guy on, Coast to Coast on September 8th for 3 hours.
Shane Osmond is gonna be there too from,
Panda.
Panda, because the commissioners have refused to hear it.
Stuart Rhodes is on there.
Right.
I hope that they
We'll
will
give you a copy of it.
remind
Okay,
them
great.
of their resolution against the Patriot
At
Act,
the
too.
Douglas County,
Commissioners meeting.
commissioners, they've written a resolution for the Douglas County commissioners to accept against NDAA, to come out and say that they're against it. And I have some of them up here, but they've refused to hear it as far as Panda goes, so Oath Keepers is gonna be there Wednesday.
Yeah, Oath Keepers has already approached them once, they refused, Panda approached them, they refused. You know, we had them here for a meeting almost a year ago, probably,
No, this is last spring.
last spring?
Last
Okay.
spring.
And then, since they refused that, Oath Keepers is now coming out with a big push regarding it, and they're spearheading this one. They've actually approached the commissioners, they've done everything by the book, they've gone through all the proper channels asking for a place on the agenda, and they've been ignored. So this Wednesday's meeting, we want as many people as possible to show up and or call, email, or fax the commissioners, letting them know that you want this placed on the agenda for a public hearing at the earliest possible convenience, meaning not indefinite, but within the next 2 commissioners' cycles or meeting cycles, and that you want it opened up for a workshop also, so that they can be briefed in detail regarding the NDAA, how it affects the people, what rights it violates, and why it's important for each county to act.
Yeah, how can they be for NDAA and they have a resolution on file against the Patriot Act?
That's a really good question, Jim. Kind of a conflict, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
And if the deal against the Patriot Act is strong enough, why haven't they just presented that to those who have come forward asking them to take action on NDAA?
We should at least remind them of it.
You know, it's this kind of common sense stuff that doesn't happen that really concerns me. So that's what we need to find out this Wednesday, and what we need to move forward to. If they can't present something regarding what they've already done that already affects the NDAA. That's it. If you have any questions, we're done. Adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray.
Yes. You came in right after the time.
I've got one that can see.